Alrighty, hope you're well. This video was requested by Stephanie Holmes, so thank you to her for that. This is going to be mostly about the best ways to spend passes in order to gain lots of equus, or just general in-game benefits. Now, I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head, so some of the things I'll talk about is whether you want to, what you want to aim for. I think that's the biggest question you want to ask yourself whenever you're deciding to spend passes is, what do you want to focus on in your game? Maybe you want to focus on your question center, make it really great. Maybe you want to be a VIP. Maybe you want to have a Pegasus account. Maybe you want to have a really great set of unicorns. Maybe you want to have a great team or be in a team. Maybe you want to aim for a really good ranking. Maybe you want to gather lots of trophies, or you just want to gain lots of equus and have the most money. Or you could just want to have the most horses. So there's loads of things that you could possibly want to do, and you could want to do lots of them, or maybe just some of them, maybe just one. So I think that's the first thing you're going to ask yourself is, what do you want to aim for first off, whenever you decide that you want to spend passes. And then when it comes to that, like, I think, for example, if you wanted to be a VIP, for example, you need to think about, if you want to be a VIP, you need to be doing stuff that you really need the VIP for. There's no point in having a VIP if you're a very casual player, in my opinion, just because you're not going to get the benefit of it, really. So if you're somebody who's going to definitely be in two good teams, if you think about it, if you're spending 10 passes a month and you're in a really good team and you do win the Morpheus arms, then you're getting 2 Morpheus arms, I'd hope. And that's 6 passes back, so you're sort of paying 4 passes, in a way, if you have 2 top teams. Now that's the ideal, okay? Not everybody's going to get that. And then if you just want to have Pegasus account, Pegasus is like having an in-between. You're more than a casual player, but you're not maybe a very heavy user. So, the benefits of having VIP, and if you want to check those out, then you just go to your passes page and you'll be able to view them there. Or if you want to see, if you're eligible for a VIP, you just go to the passes page to see the VIP stuff as well. And if you're somebody that wants to gather a lot of unicorns you usually can get for passes. Sometimes you can get ones without passes. I'm noticing there seems to be a trend now, very cheap unicorns. The other thing is, if you're somebody that's in a team and maybe another part of your goal is to be really high up in ranking, maybe you want to bluff a lot and get lots of high skilled horses, so you could spend a lot of passes doing that, because you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're getting higher genetic potential horses and you're increasing your ranking at the same time. The other thing is, if you're somebody that's very focused on the trophies, believe me, the trophies are going to cost passes at some point or another, unless you manage, not necessarily, you just be using the passes that you get freely, or you could be buying them, but some of the things that you're going to have to get are going to cost passes when it comes to trophies. So, I would say try and do the trophies that you can with equus, and if there's ones you have to spend passes on, well, it's going to have to be the way of it. In terms of gaining money, so equus from spending passes, I find actually one of the most effective ways to do that, for me personally, is I would go into the direct sales and I would look at what are the top genetic potential horses in the sales, and then I would see if the horses being offered in public coverings are lower than those, and if they are, so I don't know, I'm just going to find a horse here that I can use. I think we should be able to use this one. Okay, no, she hasn't been. Can't use her. I'll try another one. But I will show you what I mean by this. So let's look for a female, preferably one that hasn't been covered lately, so I'll go down a wee bit further. So if I go to cover my mare and I go to public coverings, what I would do is look at the highest genetic potential horses. So whenever I identify that, then what I can say is, okay, well, I know what the highest genetic potential horses are. Now I go to the direct sales and I see if I can find something higher than that. And if I can, and it might be worth my while buying it, depending on how many passes it is. I remember buying, I think it was an Alcatiki for a pass, and it was the highest genetic potential colt in the sales, and it was higher than the public coverings. And I spent about 60 agent points flipping it, maybe about half an hour, doing wins and that, and just going at my own pace. I wasn't rushing myself. And I then sold coverings from him, and I think I made in the region of about 2 million equus of him coverings alone, because he was the highest genetic potential in public. Now that's not always going to be the case. Some servers, people are very, very controlling on what GP's out, so you might find that quite difficult to do. The other thing that you might find too is, you might go and spend a heap of passes buying the best colt, and then suddenly they'll put up higher covers than you. That is another potential, so it can backfire. Don't get me wrong, sometimes, I've done it a few times, and on one occasion I made about 250k, and the other occasion I think I nearly made 2 million. So it just depended, really. So you have to kind of test the market. If it's quite slow moving, or maybe you want to focus on buying a really good unicorn stallion and putting up covers, because that's a good way too. So, you can sort of play about with it and see what there is out there to use, but if you're going to do it, definitely try and make sure that you put up 100 block covering, because you will tend to find more people will buy it if you spend the time to do that. Now, in talking about passes in terms of, I suppose, more general game benefits, I wouldn't go for VIP if you're not a heavy user. I would go for Peggy if you're more than a casual user, but not extremely heavy user. So that will give you a lot of in-game benefits. Now, if you're somebody that wants a lot of divines that give a lot of benefits, some of the divines are going to require VIP, so you're going to have to take that into consideration. I would say whenever you're going to spend passes to get divines, you need to be careful about it, because you can spend a lot of passes and not get a divine. I think if there's more a guaranteed way to do it, I think that's a more effective, if it's a set and it's more likely for you to be able to get it. That's a better time to maybe buy a divine, is like when it's in the direct sales for 10 or 15 or 20 passes, whereas you could open 30 hops and not get it. It's just, sometimes you could open it on the first hop, and I have won divines on the first hop before, and the other ones I have gone to 30 hops and just been like, great, this is a waste of time, and got nothing. So you do need to kind of think about it. But the most thing is, whenever you're doing this, is really think about what your end goal is before you go to spend passes. You might be somebody that wants to just collect, GA coats, and that's fair enough, to improve your ranking in the creations category. That might be all you want to do. But if you're looking to get a return, one of the other things you can do is, some people will sell pass horses for an actual pass. So if you're somebody that has access to a lot of passes but you want to make equus quite quickly, a lot of people don't have the access to the passes, so they prefer to pay equus for pass horses. So what you can do essentially is go into the sales, buy horses that are, pass horse material, and then sell them for equus. You can do that. Personally, I think the cheaper way to do it is to buy them when they're younger and age them up daily, and then not spend passes on them, and then sell them for passes or equus, whichever you prefer. But that's just a couple of general things. If anybody has any tips they'd like to share, feel free. This is just kind of off the top of my head and sort of things that I've done. Whenever spending passes, I tend to think about, there have been occasions where I've just been like, oh, let's try Horns of Plenty for this or whatever, and then I'm like, why did I waste all those passes? So I tend to now try and really think about it before I do it, is, am I going to get the return on the investment of the passes? So one of the things I think is quite good to do is to decide how much you actually value a pass at. Okay, so you decide what you think a pass is worth in equus. Now, do try and base it off something. Don't just pull a figure out of the head like you think a pass is worth 1 million equus. Because not everybody's going to agree with you. Try and find something that sort of other people would agree with, because then I think once you put a value on that, then you tend to value it, I think. And, if you can think about it, like, just for example, if you decided that 100,000 equus was worth a pass to you, well, then you'll think better about whether, if you're going to buy a foal in the sales, like a colt foal that you wanted to sell coverings from, and you thought, right, I could sell so many covers from this, would I get that return? Would I make at least, 100k back? You want to kind of think about it like that, or would I make more, or would I make less? So that's some of the things to think about. Anyway, thank you to Stephanie Holmes for requesting the video, and hope you have a lovely day. Bye.